Let me just give a brief introduction about Faisal Faruqui today. Welcome all. Very good morning. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to listen to Faisal Faruqui. He's a career coach and education administrator. Over the years, he has helped thousands of people in joining top companies of the world. He has also managed the career centers of various universities. So he is a regular speaker in MFID forum. Alhamdulillah, we are fortunate again to have him here. So I think a topic is very relevant for most of us. So this is going to be a regular requirement for all of us. So I think the topic itself is very amazing. So where he is going to get into the anatomy of the resume itself. So we might have gone and read about the anatomy of a human body. I think now Faisal is going to take us through the anatomy of a perfect resume. Please go ahead, Faisal bhai.
Jazakallah, Shahid bhai. Okay, so just to start with, can you kindly tell me about your background? Are you fresh graduates or are you like mid-career professionals? Just share in the
Recording
chat.
in progress.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay, no problem. Yeah, I'm okay, so some are the mid-careers, some are freshers, and even there are few people with 20 years of experience. So yeah, that's really excellent. And so you all have requirement which is quite varied. So a fresher, his requirement is to make an entry in the industry. Well, for the senior people, they have a requirement to be like they are looking for the roles like C level or a VP level. So okay, no problem. And there is one gentleman mid-career, social media marketing. Okay, so every person have a unique requirement, and that's or what I say is that resume is the basic entry point to any company. So a company, it's they have products, and for developing their products, for developing solutions, and even for solving the other person's problem, they need a talent. And a talent is any company's assets. So before investing in any asset, they want to see whether that asset is going to give them good returns or not. So let's say if I want to invest in any in gold or in like some land, I will do the due diligence. But how to make the due diligence? I will look for all the relevant data and everything. So now coming to today's topic, the anatomy of a great CV. Okay, so just to start with, I will just tell you why anatomy is important and why it is important for the doctors, or I can say for any healthcare professionals. So let's see that. Just give me a second. Yeah, let's see the classic textbook definition of the anatomy. And later on, we'll discuss or see the classic textbook definition of physiology. So the basic textbook definition of anatomy is that it is a study of body structure. So let's say a human body. So we are taking it a generic human body. So there is a in the anatomy we are going to investigate the organs, the bones, structures, cells, and all the relevant even the minute aspect of any human body, and after that we will study it. Now, what is physiology? A physiology is a study which will help the functioning of the different parts of the human body and how it is connected to the other part of the human body. Let's say there is a human brain. So in the physiology, we are going to discuss the real purpose of the human brain and how it is connected to the different organs, like let's say the heart pumps the blood to the brain, and or
Your voice is breaking for Faisal bhai. Not able to hear. Looks like there is a audio problem from your side, Faisal bhai.
just give me a second. I'm audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, here if we see medical sciences, so for studying about the perfect human body or to give the treatment to any human body, the doctors or the medical professionals study two different aspects. The first is the anatomy, the other is the physiology. Why anatomy?
Still, I think we have a problem with your voice. It's not clear. Maybe you need to use a different earphone or
Just shall we just give me 5 minutes so that I can change the headphones.
sure.
Shelby, is it okay now? Hello?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so uh, just give me a second. Okay, so I was on the anatomy and the physiology. So even if a medical professional or the healthcare professional or the doctor, when before getting the specialized in any part of the human body, what they read is the anatomy and the physiology. In the anatomy, they are going to study about each and every part of the human body that exists in like any living organism. But in the physiology, they will study the main function of the different part and how it is connected to like let's say uh, in the physiology, the medical profession is studying about the brain. Then apart from that, they will even study the cross dependence on the other human part of the other part of the human body. Now, we are going to understand the anatomy of the perfect CV or the right CV. So why it is needed? Because let's say here in this webinar, we are going to discuss about the anatomy and physiology of a perfect CV. So why the first anatomy and the second physiology is that because in the anatomy we will understand the importance of each and every section. Let's say we are going to talk about the skill section, then why it is important and what will happen if the skill section is not there in the CV. Or let's say there is the education section or the academic section. So in the academic section, mostly you are required to write the name of the course, the university, and the GPA, and any extracurricular activities or any other thing. Then why it is needed? What will happen if it's not in a proper format? And if what will happen if the section is not there? So if the section is not there, or if the section is not in proper order, that CV it won't work or it won't function properly. Now, if you see the physiology of that section, then that section we are going to understand about what function it will do. Let's say if you're going to talk about the academic section, so mostly most of the companies or most of the top companies for the freshers, they have a specific GPA requirement. Let's say uh, XYZ company, Reliance Industries Limited, for the petrochemical domain, they require any professional to join their refineries plant. They, they should have a GPA of 7.5 or 8. So we have to like your CV, it should match as per that requirement. Otherwise, it won't fetch any result. So apart from it, you do have lot of other requirements. Uh, so uh, just give me a second. I'm again changing the headphones. Shall we just 2 minutes?
Okay.
Okay. Now here comes the classic textbook definition of the resume. So, in my opinion, a resume is a presentation document to the prospective employer. So let's say about uh, let's say you are applying to the job a job to the Reliance refineries. So when you're applying a job to the respective company, you are giving a perfect presentation to that company. Then that why you are required for, or how you are fit for that particular job, and what's the value added proposition you can add to the existing products and as well as to the existing talent. Because let's when you are joining a company, you are not just required to do a specific task, but the company is expecting you to uh, to understand their culture, their history, the literature, and even they should any other person or XYZ person, if they're joining a new company, then even they should be able to understand the culture. They should mix with the existing talent force, and they should. Hello. They should able to gel with the existing people, and even they should do or add more value to the existing products line or the services line. So now coming to the resume purpose, purpose of resume, it's different for the different set of people. So for okay,
So
the
those who are not, request all the participants to go on mute.
hello.
Please go ahead. I'm muting them.
Okay, okay, perfect. So the purpose of a resume, it's different from the job applicant perspective and from the recruiter's perspective or the employer perspective. For the employer, the main purpose of inviting any resume or the CV is that they first wants to understand the employment or the education history of the applicant. The second, they want to track the record of all the job performance. They want to understand the track record of all the job performance. The third, they want to have summary of the work performance or the work experience. Then apart from that, they even want to screen out all the unqualified applicants, because if any employer, if they're inviting all the applicants, if they're inviting all the unqualified applicants for the interview, then it will take a lot of time. So even they will screen all the unqualified applicants, and at last, even a resume will be even served as a purpose for like they will use it in their records or the either personal records. Why usually I do advise all my students or all my clients never to lie in a CV or never to just fudge the data in the CV is that, because each and everything which you are giving in the resume or the CV, it will be used for the like for most of your job history, and it might backfire if you are not giving the proper details, or if you are just hiding uh, some of the details. Now, a resume from the job applicant perspective is that its main purpose is to introduce yourself to the prospective employer with the main aim of getting an interview. So when you are applying to any XYZ company for with your CV, your main aim is to get the interview call or that you will be considered for a job. So a resume from an employer perspective is a screening device, while from the job applicant perspective, it's a tool to get an interview. Now, now first, now coming to the anatomy of the perfect CV or the perfect resume, first you have to understand about the basic structure of the CV or the basic structure of the resume. Did someone raise the hand? Okay, so we will be understanding the basic structure of a CV. The main goal, or like when you are writing any CV or a resume, your main goal is to be considered, or like the first thing you have to understand that any recruiter or any HR manager, they are going through a lot of data. They are going to lot of data, a lot of CVs. So it's very impossible for a HR manager to give to give minutes, or you can like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to individual CV to take up that call. So all in all, a HR manager or the recruitment head has less than a minute to go through your CV and to make the informed call. So for that, you have to be make a very focused, a powerful, on and a concise CV which can communicate about yourself and even your value proposition to the recruitment head or to the HR manager, whoever it could be, uh, like in a very less time, and you should be able to communicate your value proposition with respect to that company. So let's say you are applying to a company with a product. So let's say the company is working on a on the refinery plant. So all in all, you have to your CV communicates about your understanding the onshore rigging, offshore rigging. Your CV, it should be able to understand or communicate that you have even exposure, or you have exposure to work with the companies like Reliance Industries with the same culture, and you can even when you're joining uh, the next company which you're going to join, you should able to understand uh, the working of that company, and even you should be able to communicate that you have all the knowledge about the relevant certifications, the guidelines. Yeah, Firoz, I'm going to come on those aspects also, how to address gap issue in the career and resume. So let's first understand the anatomy and what are things you need to communicate in the CV. So for doing all those things, you have to follow a very logical sequence. About first, you need to give all the things. The first and foremost thing, it's about your education details, your work, and your work details, because these are the very basic details. Because without it, most of the companies won't make any hiring decision. Yeah, Junaid, even I'm going to come on those aspects too. Just give me another 10 minutes. So the first aspect is that you need to give your education details and your work details. So when you are when you're going to give the education details and as well the work details, we have we have to make sure that you have to, let's say you are going to give the education details, then you have to make sure that you are going to include your company, your course name, your specialization, and your university name, and uh, your starting date, your ending date. So what will happen if we are not giving in a proper order is that most of the recruiters or the HR managers, they have a specific software, and most of the HR softwares, they have an applicant tracking system. So if at all, uh, probably you might someone if you are from the search engine, if you are from the computer science background, or if you are from the search engine optimization background, you might be aware that most of the web pages, they won't like they will just go with the generic test. So even the applicant tracking system of any HR software, they have a specific format, and they will try to read the CV, and after that they will give the results to the HR manager. So if your CV is not in a proper order, or if you're not giving the dates or the time in a proper order, then there is a high chance that your CV won't get on the top of the search result. So first thing is that you have to include your work details and as well as your education details. Then after that, um, you have to include all the skills and the accomplishments. Then after that, you have to be making sure that all the details are in a very concise manner. So let's say you have a very good skills in um, uh, let's say you are so let's say you are including the skill sets of search engine optimization, but you're applying for this job of a mechanical engineer with some instrument or some with some instrumentation company. At that point of time, your skill sets in search engine optimization or digital marketing, it won't fetch any value. So you have to make sure that you are eliminating all the irrelevant skill sets, or relevant accomplishments. Now, let's get let's get to the parts and section of each and every parts and sections of the CV or the resume. Okay, now mostly when we are writing a CV or a resume, we either have the chronological format or the functional format or the combination format. But in all these formats, we have we have to make sure that we are adopting or we are including certain skills or certain sections. The first and foremost section is the contact details. In the contact details, you have to make sure that you are including your phone number, your email ID, and even you have to make sure that you are even including your LinkedIn profile details. Apart from that, let's say you are someone from the design background. So try to include your Behance profile, or let's say you're from the software development background. So try to include your GitHub profile, or let's say you are someone from the advertising domain. So try to include a link of your portfolio or link of a link of your websites. Let's say you are a app developer on um, Google Play or on Android or iPhone. So try to include the links of all your relevant applications, because mostly the HR managers would like to know you or understand what about your portfolio and your previous work. Even they are very much interested in knowing your contribution to various websites, or even they just want to see all your portfolio. Apart from it, mostly if you are a developer, even most of the recruitment managers, they even wants to understand your contribution to the open source community. Then comes the headline section. So the headlines should be in so concise manner that it should be able to communicate your entire profile in just one line. So if you aren't communicating yourself in a single line, then you have to, then you're just exaggerating words. So let's say a XYZ professional, he has a very good skills in digital marketing. So he has to make sure that I'm a marketing and communication professional with deep knowledge in modern and traditional technology tools, and I help organizations in improving their marketing investment. So you have to make sure that your headline section is so well communicated, or it should be kind of very much action oriented. So your headline, it should be action oriented. It should make the recruiters to take the notice, and even it should be able to communicate your exact value proposition. So don't say about the things which you are communicating late in the later section of the CV. Just tell your key value proposition in a single line. That's it. Then comes the summary of the qualifications. So let's say yeah, Fahim. So so coming to the summary of the qualifications. So if you are a fresh graduate, so your summary of qualifications, it will be quite different. For the fresh graduate, it will have the things related to his contribution in the university, or his contribution in participating in different clubs, or his contribution in different cultural activities or professional activities. But summary of qualifications for senior professional, it's quite different. For a mid-career, it's a different, and for the C-level executive, it's quite different. For the mid-career, you are the professional entering into uh, probably the manager role. For the C-level executives, it's a quite different. He have to make sure that he led the team, and or even he led some of the key yeah, departments. So it could be things like executing the order, or developing the respective unit, or all those things, it will be added as summary of qualifications for a senior C-level executive or a guy with 15 years or 20 years of experience. Now comes the aspect of the career highlight. So when you are giving the highlights of each and every aspect of your career, you have to make sure that you are including your skill sets and even your respective achievements. For the fresh graduate, let's say you are including your academic section. So apart from mentioning your GPA, you also have to make sure about your participation in different cultural activities or the technical activities or in your college. So let's say you are a fresh graduate. So probably you can include the things like you organize a seminar or a code debugging competition in your college, or probably you might be a part of the debating society. So all those things, it will be you can add in the career highlight section of your CV. So let's say you are a experienced guy. So you can give or highlight the sections like, let's say you implemented a very large software for a medical company, or probably you just help the company in migrating from one technology to other technology, or else it could be, let's say you automated a FMCG plant by including the predictive mechanic maintenance mechanism. All those things, it can be added in the career highlight section. But all all in all, you have to make sure that for with each and every job, you are not highlighting not more than two career highlights. So probably let's say as a manager, you led the team, or sorry, you led the company in achieving the year on year returns of 20% or 25%. So this can be added as your career highlight. Apart from that, you might be, uh, let's say you, as a biomedical engineer, you secured a deal with Siemens or with Philips for the supply of OEM for CT scan. So it can be
ربنا لا تأ-
it can be the career highlight of that respective person. So make sure that your career highlights is relevant to the respective skill sets and even the job which you are going to apply. So let's say you are a biomedical engineer and you're applying for a job with Siemens or with Philips. So you have to make sure that your previous career highlight. Oh, I'm sorry. My screen is visible now.
Yeah, it's visible. Maybe you can go on presentation mode.
Okay, just a second. Just give me a second. Actually, it's
Yeah, I request all the participants to be on mute, and we'll take the questions later. So, and your questions can go in the chat box.
okay. Now, after that, all those things can the things related to your education and professional development, the trainings and certifications. Apart from it, there are some people, if they have like, let's say you are applying for a job in the USA or in the Canada for an engineer. Then in the USA or Canada, you have a requirement to work as an engineer. You should have a PE status, that is professional engineer status. Apart from that, let's say you are planning to apply for a job as a phlebotomist or some other relevant jobs, then you should have the relevant affiliation. Let's say you are applying for the job as a lawyer, then all the lawyers, they are required to have the membership of Bar Council of India. But on the contrary, if you are applying for a job as a lawyer in the UK, then you should have affiliation with any of the bars in that particular region. So when you are applying for any particular job, you have to understand whether that job is a regulated job or not, whether in that particular country, for doing that job, do you need a affiliation membership or not. There are a lot of jobs which doesn't require a professional affiliation, but apart from that, there are many jobs which requires a professional affiliation. uh, Mostly here in India and even in the Gulf region, to work as a HVAC engineer, you don't need a professional affiliation. But on the contrary, the countries like USA and Canada, to work as a uh, AC engineer or refrigeration engineer, you have to have the membership of the respective HVAC association of that particular state. Apart from that, to work as a real estate consultant in most of the countries, you have to hold the license of the RERA. But here in India, you can work to some extent as a real estate consultant without any license. But all in all, if you have the respective license, then your chance of landing a job, it will increase by 3 to 4 folds. So let's say you are applying for a job as an accountant, and you have the respective qualification either as a CPA to work as in the USA or Canada, or the CA in the India or other countries, or let's say you are planning to work as a CMA and you have the professional affiliation of CMA. So it will increase your chance of getting a job by many folds. Apart from that, there are many people uh, who have like submitted the publication or presentation in various conferences or in journals. So if you have the respective publication or the presentation, so even you should include those sections too. But make sure that when you are including the publication link or the presentation link of any journal, try to follow the right format. Mostly in the academia format, we either follow the Harvard referencing model or the APA referencing model, the Chicago referencing model. Whatever the referencing model which you are following, try to follow like the same model for whatever reference you are giving. And secondly, when you are giving a publication link, try to include the links from the respected journals. There are many journals where they will take the money to publish an article or a research work, but that journal, it won't hold any value. So sometimes if you are giving a link from a journal which doesn't fetch any value, so it might backfire to you. So you can judiciously see whether giving that link, it will have a positive effect or a negative effect. However, when you're applying for any academic position, then in that case, you have to give the publication and the presentations link, the patents link. It's a kind of mandatory. Apart from that, if you are applying for a job as a kind of accountant or a kind of auditor, in that case you have to give your professional application. That's a mandatory thing. And let's say you are applying for an IP consultant, that is intellectual property consultant, or let's say you are a or you are a biochemist or a biomedical professional or whatever it could be, or you are a biotechnologist or an engineer with some patents in your name, then you should be giving the link of your patents. And even you have to make sure that respective patent like in which country the patent is filed. So you have to for whatever the section which you're adding, try to give in a proper format when you are giving the link of your publication. So try to follow any of the four referencing model, that is Harvard referencing model or the Chicago referencing model. And when you are giving the link for your patents, so try to give the link of uh, the exact link of the patent and in which country the patent is filed. Apart from that, even you can give in other skills or other respective sections. Let's say you are a person who is doing the volunteering for uh, some let's say you are volunteering for the donating an organ, so try to include that relevant section, because most of the universities and most of the companies, they do value if the person is giving or contributing to the society. uh, because almost in every company, the company is giving their skill sets and as well as the talent to the society, to the community. So even they would love to hire a people who is already contributing to the society, because they think that this person can even add value to their to the CSR division. So they would love to or they would love to hire those type of people, and they would, even the interviewer or the HR manager would love to discuss on those aspects too. So before writing a CV, we have to do the self introspection. Okay, uh, just think from the perspective of the hiring managers. So put yourself as a hiring manager. The first thing what we have to do is that as a hiring manager, we have to ask ourselves, why should we hire you? The first question. The second question is that what value you can add to any XYZ organization, and what or how can you best contribute to our company? So these are the three questions which you have to uh, add in your CV, or you have to do the self introspection. So how you can do the self introspection? So before writing any CV, you have to make sure that you are visiting the company's website, or let's say you are making a generalized company or generalized CV. So always try to list down at least 10 or 15 companies which or where you are planning to work. So let's say you are a software engineer planning to work for the companies like Wipro, TCS, Infosys, IBM, or let's say you are management consultant, and you have a goal to work for the companies like McKinsey, PwC, and Sanya. So always try to make a list of companies. Even when you are trying to make a generalized CV, don't generalize too much that you are trying to address the needs of every XYZ company. Try, try to address the needs of not more than 8 to 10 companies or a set of companies. When you are making a quite generalized one, then the chance of fetching an interview calls, it's very less, because let's say you are presenting or advertising, because when you are advertising any product, you can't appeal to the entire audience, you can appeal to a specific set of audience. Now after that, first we have the next comes the preparation of the CV. So always think a job application as a sales process. So we have to identify what needs are we going to, or what the employer's needs are, and what how you can, like how you can fulfill those needs of that particular company. So for that, you have to read each and every job description, and even before writing any CV, you have to make sure that you are visiting uh, the respective person, the respective companies person's profile on the LinkedIn. Try to understand what type of technologies they are working, what type of skill sets they are adding, and all this type of things from the LinkedIn. Then try to include all those things on your CV, but don't go overboard on it. Just try to minimize it. But if it's yours, make sure that you are searching for on that company and even the respective employees of that company. So let's you are applying for a job with XYZ biomedical company, Siemens. So you have to make sure that you are identifying all the respective employees in that particular skill sets, what type of certifications they are currently doing, and their career progression path, their career progression graph, and apart from that, what type of technologies, what type of skill set they are adding in their CV? Are they taking any training? And did they did any paper publications? Or apart from that, during their education, are they adding in the respective education, or even are they contributing to the society by taking parts in certain causes? So the foremost thing is about, uh, first you have to do the self introspection. The second is the preparation, and for the preparation you have to see the respective employees profile on LinkedIn or any other professional networking website. Then comes the finalization part. In the finalization part, you have to make, and like in the finalization you have to make a very unique layout which will like which will generate an interest in the recruiters. And apart from it, you have to make sure each and every job description, or each and every company description which you are going to write, it's free from any spelling mistake or grammatical mistake, because grammatical mistakes are totally no in any CV. Apart from it, when you are writing any CV, then always uh, make sure that your latest experience is at the top, and the last experience is at the bottom. And sometimes when you let's say you have uh, years of experience, 15-20 years of experience, then try to include all the experience which is almost like 15 years old or 17 years old. So try to exclude all those information. Or let's say you are a VP level position employee, so try to exclude the positions which are of like a kind of non-major roles. So sometimes some positions are not relevant, and it will just take the space on your CV. So always try to include or try to exclude those type of informations. And at last, always make sure whatever word or whatever things which you're adding, it should be backed by the examples. So let's say you are adding you you are telling that you are a very excellent sales professional, so you have to make sure that probably you might achieve millions of dollars of sales. So always have the quantitative numbers on your CV, because more than qualitative numbers, the quantitative numbers to give much value to or it will give, or it will improve your chance of getting an interview call. So always try to include the quantitative numbers. So let's say you are a marketing professional, and you ran one campaign, so and that campaign helped the company in generating a leads of words uh, like $2 million. So try to include type of quantity numbers. And at last, always put all the relevant data at the top. Probably you might have 3 to 4 key points, which is a kind of your unique selling proposition. Uh, so always try to include those things at the top. And at last, I always say there are two different aspects. The first is the unique selling proposition. Uh, the unique proposition is a kind of after unique selling proposition, there is unique bragworthy positions. So in the unique bragworthy positions, so this specific thing is the things which you're going to brag about. So always just so in the unique bragworthy positions, you are going to talk about the things which you are going to brag about in your future interview. So try to mix both the things, and at last, try to add in the relevant keywords. Now, coming to the most important aspect of the keywords, or like the things which you need to add in the relevant keywords and all those things. So for adding in those keywords, we have to make sure that technologies the company is going to work on. So as I said to you, when you are writing any CV, always list down at least 5 to 10 companies, or at least 7 to 10 companies and list down all the technologies they are working, and even the technologies where you are comfortable, at least you have a relevant knowledge. Then try to list down all the skill sets, and okay, once you are done, try to include that keywords in the LinkedIn skill sets domain to see how frequently the recruiters are talking about that skill sets. So let's say you want to include the skill sets of uh, uh, AWS architect. So try to search for that skill sets on the LinkedIn search section to see how many HR managers are talking about that skill sets and how many people are there with the respective skill sets. And after that, once you find the respective persons with their skill sets, try to see apart from that AWS architect, what are the skill sets they do have, and are you comfortable in adding in those skill sets with in your CV? And if at all, if you're adding in those skill sets in the CV, can you address those skill sets in your interview? Because adding in a lot of things in your CV, it might fetch the job, or it will do the job of fetching you an interview, but your ultimate goal is to get the job. So if that CV is not serving the purpose of getting a job, then that CV is not doing its desired job. So always make sure that your aim is not to fetch an interview call. Your aim is to get the job. But uh, always when you're adding is any skill sets, try to see the demand of that skill set, and see the supply of the demand and supply of that particular skill set. And for doing that, the only tool or the only reliable tool is the LinkedIn. So you can do a very detailed search for the skill sets on the LinkedIn to see how many people are there with the specific skill sets and what they are doing, and are they for that particular skill set, did they did any type of certification or not, and are there any people with a skill set without any certification and they are doing the job for, like, they are doing job comfortably, or did you find, or with their skill sets it's very difficult to find a relevant job without a proper certification? Because you might find, uh, let's say you are a mechanical engineer and you are planning to work in the heat exchanger systems, but you are by doing some like third party training, you got a lot of skill sets, and even you did a job with some startups. I know you are planning to work with the large companies like Johnson Controls. uh, but just to make a big career move, you want to understand that for making a big career move, do I need to do certain certifications or not? So for that, you have to see with the same skill sets in the heat exchangers or the heat transport, are there any people with the relevant skill sets, they're doing job at some senior level, or do they have the certifications or not? If you're finding people like if you're in finding any XYZ people with if you see that it's very difficult for you to get a job without any certification, the first thing you have to do is to add in the relevant certifications. Okay, now about the major aspect of addressing the gap in the CV. Now comes the most important aspect of the gap. So even when you're applying for, just a second, even when you're applying for uh, a senior level job or a fresh level job or an entry level job or a mid-career job, or when you're applying for higher education, education gap or a work gap is always a negative thing. But sometimes the gap is not avoidable, because now even if you see the LinkedIn, they recently introduced a thing known as sabbatical, because every person they know that uh, in the life it can't, like, life is not a kind of straight road. You might have the ups and downs, so you might have issues related to the gaps, but all that matters is what you did in the relevant gap period. So let's say XYZ person have a gap of around first you will take the case of a new mother, after, like, she took a sabbatical for pregnancy and she became a mother. So that gap she can always address as a kind of sabbatical for raising a family. And mostly HR managers to take the sabbatical of raising a family as a very positive thing, because they knew that it's a part and parcel of any life. But most sometimes uh, most like sometimes the HR managers, even they do have issues about, they feel that after a long gap, how a new mother will get customized to the work environment. So when you're joining a XYZ or the workforce after a gap of 1 year or 2 years, you have to tell that for getting yourself accustomed to the workforce, you acquire the relevant skill sets, and with that skill sets, you are telling that you are a right fit for that particular job. Apart from it, many many organizations, they are organizing the boot camps. In that boot camps, they are doing the caption projects. So let's say you have a gap of 2 years or 2.5 years. It's always good to join a boot camp, so you can do that aspect too. Or else you can just highlight the relevant trainings. Or else the best part to address the gap is in the cover letter, because along with the CV, when you're attaching a CV in an email, it's always the best practice to write every brief cover letter in the email body line. When you're not writing email body line, and you're just putting the uh, if your CV is going without a body line or without a cover letter, then you have to make sure, you just have to forget that your CV is going to get any interview call. Okay, now, okay, if a gap is due to family member illness, yes, that's a quite common thing. But how you are addressing that family gap? So always, if your gap is less than 6 months, then you can just ignore that aspect. If less than 3 months, there is no reason to highlight that aspect. But if it's more than a year, uh, you can do those things, two things. If you are taking a job, if you're taking some XYZ projects as a freelancer, then always put it as a freelancer. Or else, if you are highlighting as a family illness, put it as sabbatical. Use the word as sabbatical, XYZ period, and the exact reason. Apart from that, uh, there is a common say in the English that if you just at the same place, then you won't, because a change is the only constant thing. So even you are addressing a close family member for a family illness, there is a high chance that during that specific period, you might be doing a lot of other things, like probably uh, uh, you are just addressing or you're just helping a close family member during the illness. During that period, you might be taking up some job, or you might be doing some XYZ things. So you can highlight those aspects to probably apart from attending your family member or close relative, you might be doing some training, so you can highlight those aspects. Mostly the big companies, they are really professional, and they are okay, or they just want to see what the skill sets they are, or the what value you can add to that company. And even they would love to know how you will bounce back if you have some personal tragedy. So all those things you can add it in your positive flavor, or in your like personal favor. Whatever the for, whatever shortcomings or whatever drawbacks you have, always make sure you are presenting a very good picture about it, not as something as an empathic picture, but as something as a barrier picture. People or any XYZ company or an organization or university don't like to hire or don't like to include a person who is being on empathic note, but they would love to hire people or a person uh, in the team if they are warrior. So don't put an empathic picture, put a warrior picture in front of the employer. Even if you have sabbatical, yes, a sabbatical is a part of the life, but highlight in a very positive manner. You can things like you can just addressing close family member suffering from the XYZ illness, and probably if that person recovered from that particular disease, so you can highlight those aspects to help a close family member from recovering from a disease uh, within this period. And during this time, I also added in my skill sets. Now I will just give you one example of one of my students. He got in one of the top 20 schools of the USA for MBA, and he left Indomie just to attend his mother, who suffered a who have to undergo a cardiac surgery. Okay, so what he told about his mother's cardiac surgery and the freelance work he did, and all those things which he add in the CV. And the the business school, they liked his genuine response so much that the business school offered him 90% scholarship. And yes, apart from uh, the admission, they even offered him a 90% scholarship. So he didn't do that. He left everything. He just told that what he did, because uh, you are not just because you are living in a society, so you have responsibility to each and every person. You are when you're telling that you are just totally dedicated to the company, then you are not doing justice to the uh, other to the other persons who are dependent on you. But you have to show that you are doing justice to each and every aspect, or to the each and every what you say, to the every person, or to the every person in the society. So always say or always address the gap in a very positive manner. Now there is one question: as a fresher, what is important to highlight in the resume or the CV? So as a fresher, the most important thing is that always search for the jobs where there is a highlight as a graduate engineer, or as a uh, graduate engineer trainee, or other, like most of the companies, they have various type of programs especially designed for the freshers. As a fresher, you are not doing job, you are in the company's learning environment. So always think or always say that you are still in a learning mode, and you are eager to learn. So as a fresher, you can add in probably do as a fresher, you might take a lot of courses on the Coursera or in the Udemy. You can highlight those skills. And probably you might as a fresher, you organize a debating competition, you can highlight those aspects too. Or else you might have you might address, or you might organize a very large culture or technical event. You can highlight those aspects too. But as a fresher, you one of the most important thing which you have to add in is your GPA and the core courses which you took, and even your project work. And make sure that your project work is very much like concise. Do not uh, uh, like include the words which is not at all relevant, and try to if your project work is very much generic, so try to take in the project work from internet. You will find a lot of good project works on sourceforge.net. If you're from the computer science background, so you can find a lot of good projects on GitHub or sourceforge or any other open source websites. Try to take those project works, include in your CV. And even as a fresher, you can if you are contributing to the GitHub, so you can include those things. All those things which you are doing, you can. And apart from it, probably you might have some training, so you can include those things also. But as a fresher, do not make your CV not more than 1 page. Okay. Then there is a gentleman. He is asking, can I show in my CV my non-IT education background and experience? It depends. If you're applying for an IT company, but if non-IT job can do the justice. So let's say you are applying for a IT job which do projects for the telecom background, and before to that you are in the telecom management domain. So if both jobs are doing justice, because mostly as an IT consultant, you should even have some functional expertise. So if that job is adding the functional expertise, try to highlight it as your functional exposure. But even uh, always make sure that each and every aspect of your job experience, it's in sync with the other experience. Because mostly people do grow in a very like kind of linear fashion. If you're growing in a haphazard fashion, then there is then it might give an impression the person is not so much serious about his growth. Now if I have to show from the anatomy perspective, if your growth is in a very linear manner, that growth is a kind of very like kind of healthy growth. So let's say but if the growth is in a haphazard manner, then that growth is not a healthy growth, so it requires the attention of the doctor. So always show your growth as a very linear growth. Otherwise, if you're in your CV, if you're highlighting your growth in a kind of haphazard manner, so let's say you worked in FMCG domain, after that you totally switch into kind of IT domain, then again into advertising domain, then that growth is in haphazard manner. And yes, that growth, it doesn't give any value to that company. And most of the HR managers, they will be hesitant to hire you, because if you're showing any kind of linear growth, so it will give an impression that if there is a if the company is if there are more growth opportunities, or if there is a high chance that the person will take up the VP positions or the C-level positions in the same company if there is any open positions. Okay. How to showcase advertising project in the CV? The first and foremost thing for showcasing the advertising project in the CV, you have to add in with all the quantifiable numbers. The first is the quantifiable numbers, and when you're highlighting the advertising CV, always give the link of your Behance profile or some portfolio or some portfolio. But apart from that, always make sure that there's a quantifiable numbers. So let's say you design a marketing campaign for some FMCG company. So always say about what type of results you achieve for them. So always show about your before results and as well as the after results, and the growth of that company after applying the metrics, and uh, like kind of the resources which you used. Now, one gentleman asked Firoze, what's the health issues? We cannot we cannot work night shift, and they work. Okay, now this thing mostly you can't address or you can't say about, like you can't work 25 by 7 when you are telling in a CV that you can't work 25 by 7. um, uh, Only thing you can do is in the applicant portal, or you can communicate to the respective employer about your job preferences. uh, I'm sorry, I can't able to understand you exact query, that due to health issues we cannot.
So you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay,
How to address the gap if it is 2+ years, and the reason is like we are preparing for government job.
mhm.
To address, please. So how to address? Please explain this.
So you are preparing for the government job, right?
Was preparing for the government job.
Okay, and did you got like for the group one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the outcome of the job? Did you got? Are you expecting the final call?
No. I was not able to get into the government job, but now I'm trying to enter the IT field. So how to address my gap?
Okay, now when you are, this can address in two different manner. So if you are trying to enter in the IT field, the best way when you have a huge gap is that the first thing is that do not take fake experience, because it will backfire like anything. Because I know one many gentlemen are like they got terminated after 25 years of experience too. So the best way is to join any boot camp, and mostly in top boot camps they will make you to go for the capstone projects directly under a company. Now always say there is always good thing, but when you are communicating or when you are saying truth, uh, it's always fetch or it will help you in the long run. So if you have a gap of 2 years, just join a good boot camp, try to do capstone project for 6 months, then again you will be open to the industry. Because in probably you might not get the exact pay of the people of your work experience level, but you will be in a safe position. And mostly many companies, they have the placement partnerships with uh, most of the top boot camps. I know there is one a boot camp in the USA by named Dojo, and they have direct placement partnerships with the companies like Salesforce and with the companies like IBM. And one of the good field which you can take up if you have a long gap is the technical sales. So there are a lot of good boot camps which is happening in the technical sales, or you can say like functional technical sales or a technical implementer. You can take up those boot camps, or else you can take or you can master any technology for 6 months and do some good projects, develop your portfolio, and you can just make yourself open to the industry again.
Okay, thank
Okay, sorry. What if you join a startup and a company asks to resign after?
Hello, sir. Regarding gap only,
Yeah, okay.
gap. If we have gap due to health issue, and after
Mhm.
that we have worked in local company, because before that I was working in international company. So if I have worked in after gap, like after 2 years gap due to health issues, I had been told by doctor to work only for day shift, and my the previous company which I was working was for night shift. So I decided to work for local companies. Now I have worked for local company. Again, an international offer is there for day shift only. So I
Okay.
want to address my issue that I have a gap due to health issue, and I have working experience with local companies, that is normal enterprises, not international company like Wipro or that. And my
Okay.
previous experience is with Wipro, TCS.
Okay, I got it. What's your name, gentleman?
My name is Firoz.
Firoz. Okay, so Firoz, let's say, um, previously you worked for Wipro. So in the Wipro, first you will be highlighting two of your key responsibilities, then two of your achievements. The two of your achievements you will be highlighting about managing the entire aspect, about each and everything, about how you manage the entire operations or sales aspect. Then after that, the respective local company which you worked, uh, present that company in a very positive manner.
Okay.
It's there is no harm in downgrading your profile just to take care of your health.
No, in
Okay,
local company, I was at a good position, but it is a local company. Wipro is a
so
MNC,
there
and
is no
local
harm in it.
company,
There is no
yeah,
harm
look,
in it.
okay, okay.
There is
It
no
is a
harm in it.
steel. Local company is in steel profile.
Exactly. So if a company doesn't have a very good profile, so just after the company name, just give one line description of that company. That's it.
Okay, okay. And
Okay,
my
let's say.
role in that company, local company. Can I
So
give
let's
a
say, no, no,
highlight about that?
yeah, I will just give you one example. So your company is taking the subcontracts from Jindal Steels. Uh, your company is taking the subcontracts from Jindal Steels. So you're just telling that XYZ company is the preferred subcontractor of Jindal Steels, and this thing, or else your company is helping Jindal Steels in mining activities. So you are just telling XYZ company is the preferred mining contractor for the Jindal Steels, or else if you're OEM providers for the Jindal Steels, so you're just highlighting OEM providers or OEM consultants for the Jindal Steels. Probably, even if they're small companies, so they might have some type of relationship with some large company. So we have to connect that link. So if we are connecting that link, that missing link, then it's very easy to go. Okay, if I have Firoz, hello.
Yes.
Okay, if I have to again explain from the anatomy part, uh, probably some person, if they go to the like some person, some aspect, they are like some person they have got a very good arm, or you can say muscle power or arm power. Some persons they have a very good like they are like they have you can say their leg or you can say the foot power is quite good. They are good runners. So
Okay.
every person's they have some unique uh, part of the body which like they're quite good in it. Some person the metabolism is very excellent metabolism. Some person the
Yes.
digestive skills are quite good. So even in
Yes, sir.
CV, so every person they have some unique thing to add. So we just
Okay.
have to highlight those aspects itself.
Okay. Got it. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
okay, you got it.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Yes.
Yes, this is Junaid here.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually am from Pune and I've been working on projects like around more than 2 years. And apart from that, I have an organizational experience about of 1.9 years. So how
Mhm.
should I present that in my CV?
I didn't get you.
Like I have an experience on projects like I've worked on 80 projects for social media.
Mhm.
Yeah, and apart from that, I have 1.9 years experience, organizational experience.
Okay.
So how should I present that in CV? And recently I got an offer from Hyderabad,
Okay.
which I
So
also
now, first and foremost thing,
mentioned the question about the
as I told
project part.
earlier, Yeah, just listen me. As I told earlier, first try to highlight because as you're in the social media, so probably you
Yeah.
might manage the campaigns of some of the big brands. So the
Yeah.
main cam of social media manager is to communicate about the brand. Probably, you're not just communicating about the brand. Probably the brand might have some negative reviews. So always highlight the three key sections of your profile. Then after
Okay.
that, your respective skill sets. And as social media manager, you even have to give the links of the respective profiles you manage, or try to include kind of a portfolio, all the portfolio links.
Okay.
If you
And
are,
recently, yeah, yeah.
yes, tell me.
Yeah, and recently I mentioned the question like in text also. Like I was offered a job from Hyderabad. It was a startup company.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they wanted to plan something for a website launch and New Year offer. So I was working and then on that project, and the project was for around 2 months. We
Okay.
collaborated with artists or influencers also, and I was solely handling the entire project. And the response was really good. And once the campaign got ended, project got ended, they said that now we are running short of project, so we won't be able to continue. So should I mention that
Okay,
in
Junaid,
my?
any experience, or if you have experience of less than 3 months, uh,
Yeah.
then try to avoid it. Uh,
Okay.
okay, make it as a kind of contract project or as a kind of independent project.
Okay. Okay, but it was from an organization. So can I mention it as an individual project?
Yes, you can make individual because any experience less than 3 months, it will be taken as a negative thing, and you will be end up like you have to give lot of answers.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, that only issues. We have worked in MNC and local. Now, the local company which I have worked, they did not. We did not had agreement on salary. It was on like a deal basis. So, should we mention salary package to
Okay. Deal
get
basis, like I believe you're getting salary in Bangkok
deal
or
basis means like we did deal. No, we will be having percentage in that profit.
that's totally okay.
So we
But
now
but
we
but
are
any
again.
company, but
I
any
am going.
company.
Yeah, again I am going to previous organization, previous profile. So I have to mention salary because they give on basis of salary, no, their uh,
Okay,
calculation, salary calculation,
exactly.
package calculation.
But any company,
Oh,
as per the rule of the rule of nature,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the generic HR practices, there will be basic salary.
yeah.
What
Okay.
you can do is that you can take all the average of amount which you get
Yeah.
till now and make it as a kind of your annual salary. So make it
Okay.
all the
Okay.
average amount which you got, and make it quite an average one.
Okay. Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And one last question. I graduated as mechanic engineer. Now I'm entering into IT field. How I can highlight my resume? Okay. Well, Mohammed, I don't know why you are shifting from mechanical engineering to IT, because mechanical engineering is a very good field and there is a lot of great scope. You can make a career in mechatronics or you can make a career in automation. However, if you are like very focused on entering into IT field, try to take up some good IT projects and go for some boot camps. And moreover, most of the top companies, they have specific programs like Cognizant has ELITE. Then apart from it, uh, like Capgemini, they have their own programs for the fresh graduates. So try to identify those programs and try to build good analytical skills, because as a as an IT professional, it's all about the analytical skills, because you are solving the problems of the company or of your client by using is like programming languages and computing tools. So you are solving the problems of that client. So for that, you should have good problem solving skills and good analytical skills. So and moreover, don't you should even see like you should have the good logical skills too. And mostly my advice to all the students, like whoever entering into even they are entry level or even they are fresh graduates, you should know at least 3 to 4 algorithms. Mostly I when I'm interviewing any students, because many universities do invite me for taking the interview or for their master's level students. So if they are like taking part in any MS computer science programs, the very first question which I ask to them is that, do you know any algorithm or do you develop your own algorithm? And I, as a computer science professional, I always want a future student of mine or future graduate student or future employee of mine, they should know the algorithms and they should know think from the algorithmic perspective. So if you are entry level or fresh level, you should know the algorithms. And you can sci-fi can tell you more about the importance of algorithm if you are very much keen of making good career in the IT or in the computer science domain.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, this is Mohsin
Hello.
from Pune.
Okay.
Am I audible clear, sir?
Yes.
Okay. I have two queries or two questions to you. Basically,
Mohsin,
I have a,
one last thing.
yeah.
This can be the last question, gentlemen. The rest questions you can email me.
Okay. Okay. Should
I'm
I
sorry, I
continue, sir?
can't take all the questions. I'm very sorry about it.
Should I continue, sir?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So basically, I have experience of more than 15 plus years of experience into IT sales, basically into peripherals division. I
Which division?
IT peripherals.
Okay.
Basically selling the
Yeah, I got it.
printers, computers, and all that
Exactly.
stuff. So 2018, there was a turmoil in our organization. I was working with MNC called Rico India Limited. There are financial incurrences in the top management. So I left that organization. I have joined other organization. Fortunately, my mother was not keeping well, so I left that organization within 3 months,
Mhm.
and I shifted to my hometown. And within that 6 months, I lost my mother.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then I continue to work in the local company of the Pune. Before that, I was in Mumbai actually as a regional manager. And then the COVID was hit, and during the COVID period, a lot of organization was trying to liquidate the manpower, and I was looking for opportunity, but I could not get that opportunity during that period. And I took small opportunities and worked for, because financial incurrences was always on a thing. So now I'm actually struggling to get a proper comeback in the industry. So how do I cover that thing? Point number one. And point number two, when I left 2018, the organization Rico India, my CTC was on a very good profile. Now I'm struggling in that also because I'm not able to justify the differences about the salary package to be wherever I'm applying. So I'm not getting a proper offer or the packages offer for the same. Sir, how do I take care of this gap?
Okay.
Or
Your name is Mohsin, right?
Mohsin, yeah, correct, sir.
Mohsin, are you currently working?
No, sir, I'm not working. Actually, I was working with one of the IT company for last 4 5 months. I was infected with COVID in 2021. And I'm actually currently facing some post-COVID issues. So doctors have asked me to take the gap of 3 to 4 months and then continue working, because being it's a sales job, I have need to travel continuously. And in a current health issues, I'm not able to. I'll not be able to travel.
What's your
As per
age, Mohsin?
doctors. My age is 40, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, Mohsin, what you can do is that you can just drop me an email, because many things, uh, again, as a tool, that companies would love to have a variant, not an empathic person, like who are just
Mhm.
bringing like empathy.
Okay.
So, what I will do is that I can share one, because mostly many companies, because they knew
Yeah.
that this type of what you say, gaps are quite common. So
Mhm.
for one of my client, I wrote one gap statement. So
Okay.
I will just try to share one gap statement.
Okay.
Okay. Don't know how to share it over here. Or else, if anyone wants that gap statement, no problem. You can just share that gap statement in when you are writing a cover letter, a very
Okay.
in 2 lines about those aspect too, if you want. Or else you can just totally ignore it. The first thing, and about your health issues, you can just give me a call tomorrow. I will.
Okay.
I just want to understand in detail because
Sure.
not all the things it can be communicate in a minute or two.
Correct, sir. Correct, sir.
So, yeah.
So can I have your contact number and your email ID, sir?
Okay, I'll
So
just.
could you please share in the chat box, Faisal bhai? Okay. Yeah, I think Faisal bhai need to get into something else. So all the questions which were not answered, right? So you can reach out to him directly through his email ID and the WhatsApp. I hope this is a WhatsApp number, Faisal bhai.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a very great interactive and engaging session. So many people
Definitely.
today this morning, and this is the need of everyone. Like because in we might have experience during this discussion also, like people from various experience. So they still have the need to properly manage their resume. They should understand what to put, what not to put, and how to present. Very beautiful way Faisal Bhai has presented, like how we should go as a warrior even during the difficult situation, which is part of the game. We will see ups and downs. So true to yourself and true to others. So always be true to yourself and be true to others. So this will not fire back. Okay. So I think it has given a great insight how to project yourself, how to make yourself valuable for the company. So I think uh, with this note, like whenever we are coming up with our resume, so these kind of lectures, and if you have if you are starting fresh, so it is ideal to go with some experienced guy and seek his help. There were a lot of questions from the freshers as well. I think you can also reach out to him directly. So even for the freshers resume, how you can make your resume and like outstanding when thousands of people are applying for that job, right? So those queries can reach out to him directly. So I think I thank everyone who,
Shahid bhai, can you please let us know little bit about MFIRD?
yeah.
We are
Okay.
here.
So MFIRD, which is the Millet Foundation for Industry Research and Development. So this is a forum for our networking. So there are so many professionals who need a platform where they can share their best experience. Like now, these Sunday sessions are helping us a lot to understand various hot technologies in the market, various trends that are going in the market, which we need to be aware. If we are not getting ourselves updated, upskill, so then we'll be irrelevant to the industry. So this is why we have these Sunday sessions wherein we bring a lot of experts to the forum, to whom we can listen and whom we can get connected to get our queries answered. So we normally work on four verticals. One is upskilling. The second one is entrepreneurship career. And the third one is industry college connect. Fourth is career guidance. So the topics of the Sundays are around these four topics. And we do have regular meetings, weekly meetings in various cities. We do have monthly connect in various cities. So please try to get connected with, especially with these sessions. So Sunday sessions, we have kept Sunday because so many college students and college professors can also make use of these sessions. Earlier, we used to have it on Saturday. Then seeing this need of the freshers, seeing the need of these college students, we have kept it on Sunday. I think if we keep on making use of these sessions, not only just freshers, not only the topic of our interest, even if that topic is not relevant right now, but definitely I feel a lot of learning you will have with every session you hear. At least you can connect people to the right expert, right? So since you being in the industry for long, people come to you to seek your advice. You might be expert in one particular technology, but these kind of forums, these kind of participation will help you out to understand the expertise from various people, and you can connect the dots. So the I request the experienced people here, if you have expertise in some technology, you can reach out to us. We can have session from you as well. Okay, we have seen Mohsin, a sales guy, many other guys, and we have seen here the PhD scholars. So please reach out to us so we can have your sessions too here in this platform. Hope making sense. Anything else, Junaid bhai, you want to add? Riaz bhai?
Sir, please share a link for the group to join our organization.
Yeah. So you can reach out to me. Okay.
So I don't have your number or any contact number. Can you please text, put it on chat box?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Good
And I'm
afternoon.
sorry if I couldn't take all of your questions because
You will
of
be-
time.
You will be getting questions, Faisal bhai. So be ready. You so be ready
Definitely.
to
Inshallah.
keep an eye on your email ID as well as WhatsApp.
Perfect, perfect. The best thing is to email me more than
Okay.
WhatsApp,
Okay.
because mostly I will be on email.
Okay.
The best thing is for me is email.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thanks.
you very much, and hope to meet you guys soon.
Thank you.